Hey y'all, it's your boy Richard Fowler, and 6 months from now, we'll be voting in the upcoming 2020 election. Man, how time flies. But this election is going to be different, not because of who's on the ballot, but because we'll be voting during a global pandemic. A pandemic that requires us to maintain social distance to flatten the curve. That's why states all across this country are pushing forward measures to make it easier for Americans to vote. We're seeing these measures in Ohio, in Michigan, in Nevada, and even in Texas. Sadly, our president thinks this is a terrible idea. Let's take a listen.
Meanwhile, President Trump tweeted threats to cut federal funding to Michigan and Nevada because those states are ramping up absentee ballot applications due to the pandemic.
I don't think it's going to be necessary because mail-in ballots are a very dangerous thing. They're subject to massive fraud.
Now, what makes the president's baseless criticism so troubling is that he's pushing forward lies and mistruths about what it means to vote by mail. Number one, in a tweet, he indicated that the state of Michigan was sending out ballots when they were actually sending out applications. And number two, there's been no evidence, none, zero, nil, that voting by mail will increase voter fraud. This is just an attempt from the president to stop you from voting. Now, what makes this even crazier is he's supposed to be the leader of the United States during a time of a global pandemic. So if there's anybody that should be talking about why we should move to vote by mail, it should be the President of the United States. Unfortunately, it's not. Him and his party have made it clear they want to make it harder for you to vote. Don't take my word for it. Just look at the facts. In the state of Wisconsin, their governor tried to make it easier to vote by mail, and he was blocked by the state Supreme Court, which required voters to vote in person during a stay-at-home order. And as a result, as you can imagine, we saw an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in Wisconsin because of this effort. I want you to vote because voting is key to our democracy, and voting gives you a voice. But this president does not. So here's what I want you to do. When that absentee ballot comes to your house, I want you to fill it out. And I want you to return it. And when the ballot comes to your house, I want you to vote. I want you to vote your conscience. I want you to vote for somebody who supports making voting easier for Americans. That's my take. I'll see you at the polls.